This gravestone belongs to Charles Edward Thomas. Charles died in 1859 at the age of 4 months. The cause of death written on his death record is sort of illegible, but my best guess is encephalitis. Charles was the only son of John and Martha Thomas. John and Martha had 3 other children, all daughters. All 3 succumbed to consumption or tuberculosis before reaching adulthood. The last of them, Florence, died in 1893 at the age of 19. The year after that, John died in his 60s. Martha lived alone and worked as a seamstress. She lived another 8 years after her husband's death and died in 1902 of breast cancer. I get questions about my research process, so I'm going to share a little bit of that with this grave. I looked in the records for this cemetery, and Edward isn't actually in the record. So that means he's not buried in this cemetery, and this stone is what is known as a cenotaph. I noticed the word Castleton on the bottom right corner of his gravestone. Since this cemetery is close to the Vermont border, and I knew Castleton was in Vermont, I decided to start looking at Vermont records instead of New York records. So that's how I found his death record, as well as the records of the rest of his family. Edward's sister Florence and his parents, John and Martha, are all buried in this cemetery, but he's most likely buried in Castleton. Hi everyone, just a quick reminder to go follow my new show, Mortal Mysteries: Crime Throughout Time, on all of our social media channels. We share things about our upcoming episodes, but we also share a lot of cool historical tidbits and context around what we're talking about. Our most recent episode that came out was about the Texas servant girl annihilator, which is as brutal of a story as it sounds. I'd never heard of this case until we started researching it for the show, and it was a really, really interesting story to get into. And still unsolved, hence the mystery. So if you want some cool history to interrupt your doom scrolling, head on over and follow us on all the socials. I'm going to tag the account in the caption of this video. Okay, thanks, bye!